Hello everyone, this is Ronick Fru again. I'm going to be taking you guys through a third lab for this course, network setup. Let's hang tight and let the lab load. There we go. In this lab, you're going to deploy a simple network using pfSense for connectivity and routing, and Ubuntu, CentOS, and Windows Server Virtual Machines as network host. pfSense is an open source firewall and router software distribution based on FreeBSD and will be used to route communications between the host in this lab. 5 measure steps are expected during this lab. Configure pfSense networking interfaces, which is very important. Keep this in mind for your exams. Configure Ubuntu network using NetPlan. Configure CentOS networking. Complete the pfSense setup wizard. This is also very important for your exams. Please keep this in mind. And last but not the least, verify network connectivity to the servers. Okay, let's get this started. If you haven't taken this lab yet, please watch the video before you practice the labs. Okay, step 1, we're just going to go right straight to the point to configure pfSense networking interfaces. Keep this in mind, please. Practice and practice and practice. This is very important for your exam. Okay. Should VLANs be set up now? The question is a no. We don't want to set up VLAN. So we're going to type in N and we're going to enter. So step 2 says type in HN2 for the one interface name. So we want to set up these interfaces, right? So we're going to do the HN2, typing in, enter. Okay, we're going to set up the second interface for the local area network, which is HN1. We're going to set up the third but not the last, well, the third, which is the last but not the least, which is the HN0 for the optional interface name. So HN0, there we go. So do we want to proceed to go ahead and configure this? Yes, we enter the Y and we hit the enter. So it's configuring. So I'm just going to go ahead and check this processes that we just completed. So it's going to take a couple of seconds to a minute or two to get this loaded. So just hang tight and wait for it to load. There we go. It's configuring the wide area network interface right now. It's resolving the domain name server. Configuring firewall, which is done. DHCP 6 done. Everything is complete and ready to roll. If you can look at it, and you see that the IP address 192.168.1.1/24 is already defaulted for the local area network. So our area of focus here would be to configure the interfaces. So this is very important. Please watch. So we're going to go ahead and type 2 for setup interface IP addresses. So we're going to type the number 2 and we're going to hit enter. So we want to start according to what we requested by the lab. We're going to start from bottom top, which is an OPT1. So we're going to type the number 3 to configure the optional 1 interface. So we're going to type 3 to call that. It's kind of like a function, right? So we're going to enter that IP address, which is 10.0.0.0.1/28. So an IP range of 28. So we're going to hit enter. Let me double check. It's going to be 2 zeros and 1/28. Just want to make sure. Okay. Enter. So we're going to do the enter for known. So we don't want to because we don't even have the IP address yet. So we're just gonna hit the enter key. So we don't want an IPv6 address as well. So we're gonna hit enter for no. Okay, it says, do you want to enable the DHCP7 option 1? So, and the response is no. So we're going to just go ahead and hit the enter key. We're going to do the N for no, and we're going to hit the enter key. It says, do you want to revert to HTTP as the web configuration protocol? The response is no. So you can see in step 7 it says do not revert. So we're going to do the N. We're going to hit the enter key. So so once that's done, so we hit the end of the continue. Okay, once I've clicked enter, I'm gonna go ahead and close up and checked out all those steps that we completed. We just got done with enter. Okay, so what we should be able to see right now is we're done configuring the 10.0.0.1 /28 IP range. We're going to be moving on to the next step, which we're going to be configuring the wide area network. So we're going to go ahead and click and type in the number 2, enter. So our focus is to configure the wide area network, which is the number 1. So we're going to enter number 1. So we're not going to configure IPv4 address wide area network via DHCP. So it's going to be a no here. Click enter. And what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and enter the IP address for wide area network IPv4, which is 192.168.2.1/24, range 24. Then we're gonna press the enter key. We're gonna press the enter key again for none. Then we're gonna type N for no, because we're not going to configure IPv6 address wide area network. There we go. I'm going to check those stages that we completed. Now we're going to go ahead and do the no again. Then we're going to enter the N and press enter to say no, to revert to HTTP as the web configurator protocol. There we go, it's loaded. Then we are going to press continue, enter to continue to conclude this setup, interface setup. There we go. So as you can see, we've actually just completed the interface from our wide area network HN2. Okay. If you review, everything is all set up. That's it. Same. We are going to check that out. We are going to proceed with configuring Ubuntu network. So we're going to take it top. Right now we're in PSN, so we're going to switch machines. We're going to go to Ubuntu. And before we go to Ubuntu, just so you know, this configuration, pfSense configuration, is very important for you to keep in mind, practice for your exams. Okay, we're going to do configuration of Ubuntu networking. So I'm going to press the enter key. There's a machine. We're going to log in the password. Check that out. Password is password. It's written down there. You can just go ahead and type this in and sign in. Once we sign into Ubuntu, we're going to go straight to the terminal. Launch the terminal. You're required to type in ifconfig to be able to check what the configuration of the machine. So press enter. So this is our focus, the ETHO interface, which is 192.168.11.11, and that's the net mask, you can see. So that's a focus. Step 4 here requires us to change that IP address from this to this. So we're going to go ahead, and how do we do this? So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go back to the terminal. So we're going to do CAD /etc /netplan /01 network manager all.yaml. Press the enter key. So this is what we get. So we are required to pull this up in an edit file and change all that details. So we're going to move down, we're going to skip. In order to get that done right, we need an administration or super user access. So that's why we're going to enter the sudo, and we're going to use the nano to edit that. So we're going to come back here, we're going to do sudo nano, same command that we did previously, netplan so the enter key. Password is the same, so it's going to be what we had in at the very first top, a bit of password. You go ahead and enter the password. Okay, so we're going to be very careful here when we're doing this editing. So you might want to just use your arrow key and navigate down. We're at level 7, so we'll step 7. Take your arrow key, you come down straight to the ETHO 0 IP address. So we're going to change that to 168.1.10, and the IP range is the same. I just want to use the arrow key and come down again to the gateway. We're going to change that gateway from .1.1 and then come down to the addresses. The very first one is going to be, we're going to wipe that out. We're going to do the .192.168.1.1. You do the arrow key down. We're going to wipe that out. We're going to change it to 1.1.1.1. So that's exactly what the value is going to be. So the gateway 4, that's it. The name servers, the very first one is going to be that, and the second name server is going to be the .1.1.1. Once you're done with this edit, you want to just move down to step 8, which requires us to press F2, right? F2 will take us to do the settings. So you're going to go to the keyboard and just hit F2, and if you say yes to the changes that you've made, you just type the Y. There you go, and then you hit the enter key to conclude. Takes you back to the terminal. So that changes has been made. You come back, and in order to generate that into the netplan, just go back and type sudo netplan generate, and then you hit the enter key. Okay, that's generated. Now you want to apply it. Just go to the same command, sudo netplan apply. Press the enter key. Good to go. Now you want to check and see if those changes were affected. Right, go ahead and rerun the ifconfig again. Press enter, and there you are. Just double check and see if it if it corresponds to what you're required to do. There you go. That's it. All the same. Yep. I'm gonna close this. Conclude. So now we're gonna ping and kind of see if it's been done. So you want to verify, right? Changes has been done, but you want to verify by pinging and see if it's gonna go through. So let's attempt to communicate with the gateway to verify the IP configuration by sending 5 pings. So you type ping because you requested to do 5 pings. You count them by doing the -C in 5. Then you enter the IP address, which is 192.168.1.1. Then you press the enter key. 5 packets transmitted, 5 received, and 0 packet lost. That was a success. So the second configuration is going to be in networking configuration being in CentOS. So we're going to change. We're going to switch from this machine to the CentOS machine. There you go. It's loading. You just press the enter key. Okay. You click on the user name, and then you enter the IP. Oh, the password. Sorry. We're going to go ahead. The passwords are pretty standard here, but do not conclude. There you go. Enter the password. There you go. So you're required to go to the terminal. Click on the terminal. You also, here, in order to know the configuration, it's almost the same. You run the same command just like that on Ubuntu, which is ifconfig. ifconfig. There you go. And you press the enter key. So our focus is still the same, right? This, the Etho, or ETH0, so that's a 0 interface. So that's our IP address, that's our focused, and if you can look, the same, right? It does match. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, run that to verify it's all good. Now we are going to run the Network Manager Text User Interface, or NMTUI. So we're going to go ahead and run that because everything gets on in there. NMTUI. So we're going to launch that. Step 5, we're required to edit that connection, right? So it's already highlighted in red. So we're just going to go ahead and hit the enter key. Okay. And step 6 says select wired connection 1. It is configured with the IP address. So that IP address that we run using ifconfig, that's what is configured, because that's where we gotta go and change it. So it's already selected by default. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the enter key. So now we are in the Network Manager Text User Interface. So we're gonna go ahead and navigate by using the tabs key. It's gonna walk us through. This is our focused. The IPv4 configuration. I'm going to use the arrow keys here and navigate right down. We want to change that. So we're going to change this to this. So we're going to change the 5. Going to change the 5 to a 1. We're going to change the 5th to 5 to a 20. The range remains the same, so it's going to be 192.168.1.20. Then we are going to use the tab key again and navigate down to the gateway. So we have to change the gateway as well because the interface has changed. So the gateway is going to be .1. Okay. So remember, .1.1. I'm going to check this out. Then we are going to navigate and click the OK. So we're going to use the tab key. It's going to take us right to the bottom. Now that's the OK, highlighted in red. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. It's going to bring us back. So we are going to navigate down to the back. And then we are going to select activate a connection to apply the IP address changes. So we're going to do this. We're going to navigate. Go to the back. And we're going to navigate down and do the enter to activate a connection. Activate. There you go. Then you navigate down to back. And then you quit. Press enter to quit. There you go. And you come here just to verify the ifconfig. To verify if those changes were implemented. There you go. You can double check to see if it aligns. There you go. Okay. Step 14 requires you to ping that in count of 5 IP address 192.168.1.1. There you go. So this ping, we pinged and count 5 packets were sent and all 5 received and 0 packet lost. Okay, so that's it for CentOS. So we're going to go ahead and do the configuration of Windows networking. So we're going to go back and switch from CentOS. We're going to do Windows Server 2019. There we go, already in. So I'm going to check that step 1. Step 2 requires us to kind of go through into this and run a command line interface, which is CMD. Let's open that command line interface. So with Windows, instead of doing ifconfig, it's ipconfig. So do not forget about that, ipconfig. ipconfig in the Internet Protocol configuration. So once you log in that command, it gives you the configuration of the networking of the system. So here we see our IPv4 address is 10.0.5.10, and that's a subnet mask, and that's a default gateway, which is 1. So, okay, so we are required to change that, and to get that done, which takes us to step 3, says it requires us to go to the stat. We right click on the stat and go to network connections. There you are. You click on network connections. Once it opens a network, to require us in step 5. Requires us in step 4 to go under change your network settings and select change adapter options. So this is where we are required to go to change adapter options. So we should go on there and we're going to select, and then once it takes us to this page, and we're required to right click on that Ethernet, then select properties. So we're going to go here, right click on it, we're going to select properties, and step 6 require us to highlight Internet Protocol version 4 and then select properties. This is Internet Protocol version 4. We're going to highlight that, and then we're going to go ahead and click properties. There we are. This is the table. So So we're required to switch whatever it's on there, we change it to reflect whatever we have on here. So we're going to go ahead and change the IP address. We're going to change the 5 to 0. And we're going to change the 10 to 2. And our subnet mask, we're going to change that 0 to 240. And our default gateway, we're going to change the 5 to 0 to reflect, because our default gateway is the same, similar to our IP address, so they gotta have to be within the same range. Okay, the DNS server remains the same. We're gonna go ahead and click OK. Step 8 requires us to close all this, so we're gonna go ahead and close this, close everything. There we go. And then we're going to come back and run a command and see if that changes were affected. So we're going to go ahead again and type ipconfig. There we are. Everything is perfect. You can see it's perfect. We're going to check that out. We're going to go to step 10. Step 10 is requiring us to kind of ping and see if this is going to go through, if it's going to communicate. So we are going to go ahead and ping that IP address and see if it's going to go through. 10.10 or 10.0.0.1. So our goal here is to kind of enter this IP address and see if we'll be able to ping. Just so you know, this ping is expected to fail because pfSense blocks pings by default that don't originate from the local area network interface. However, we are still able to ping from pfSense anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and run this and see. Like I said, this is expected to fail. Okay, that request got timed out. So 4 packets were sent, 0 received, and 4 lost. Okay, so step 11 is requiring us to switch to the pfSense machine. We're going to switch back to the pfSense machine. Okay, it requires us to type 7. We're trying to ping, like I said, you know, pinging from the pfSense machine, it's okay, but having to ping from the Windows, that's going to fail. So we're going to go ahead and type 7 for ping, to ping the host. Then we're going to go ahead and log in to ping the Windows machine, which is a 10.0.0.2. I'm going to press enter. That was successful. 3 packets transmitted, 3 packets received, 0.0% packet loss. That's it. Okay. We are going to go ahead and set up a pfSense wizard. This is very important. You want to practice this in practice because you might probably be tested on this. Okay, I'm going to take you guys to pfSense wizard, which is back in Ubuntu. We're going to go to Ubuntu to set up the pfSense wizard. We're going to launch Firefox. There you are. We're going to open Firefox. We're going to go back to the browser. We're going to type http://192.168.1.1 we're going to press the enter to advance. I'm going to click advance. Remember, we're always going to get warning. We're going to accept the risk. I'm going to go ahead and log in. The username, which is admin, and the password, which is pfsense. There you go. You don't need to save this. So we're in. Our assignment here is to go on the systems menu and launch the setup wizard. So follow this process very carefully and keep it in your head. It's very important for your exam. So we're going to go to systems and click on setup wizard. Setup wizard. We're going to click on the next. Under the Netgear Global support is available. We're going to also click on next again. Okay. So just look at the values. Yeah, this is what we expected to do. Under general information, we already have the hostname by default. Whatever hostname you're required to enter, that's what you're going to put in the hostname. The domain, its name is default, local domain. Whatever you're required to put in there, that's what you're going to be putting in, not this one. Okay, we're required to enter the primary DNS server, which is 1.1.1.1. Secondary DNS server, which is 8.8.8.8. And we're going to click next to proceed. Check that out. On the time server information screen, select next. So we're going to select next. Nothing ought to be changed here. We're just going to go ahead and click next. Under this, the RFC 1918, we are expected to uncheck the boxes, both boxes on Bogon networks. So we're going to expected to uncheck both boxes, that both boxes on RFC 1918 networks and Bogon networks. So we're going to scroll down. Here we are. We're going to uncheck both boxes. Then we're going to click next. Step 9 is requiring us to configure local area network interface screen. There it is. We already have this IP address by default from the beginning, so we're just going to go ahead and click next to proceed. We are required to set admin WebGuru password. So this is the password we're required to enter. So we're going to go ahead and type this password in as it is. We're going to repeat that password. So whatever password you're going to be provided, that's the password you're going to log in. You're going to go ahead and click next. You don't need to save the password. Then we are going to go ahead and click reload configurations. Once we reload, there you are. Go ahead and click finish. So that's the process. It's already been, that's the process. If you're required for test or exam purposes to kind of do a backup of this configuration and save it, it's very easy. Just go to diagnostics and go to backup and restore. Once you get here, that's it. You go there and you click download configuration XML. You can decide to open the file, but if you're required to save it, why don't you just go ahead and hit the save button already. Go ahead, and once you click save, that's the file. You can trace the file wherever it is. It's in the download folder. You can go ahead and rename it if you're required to rename. Like here, if this says, hey, rename this file backup, you can rename it as backup, and then you click rename. And then it says put in your desktop, you can just move it and drop it in your desktop. There you are. So if you go ahead, that's it on your desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out and see what I'm required to do next. Then you can go ahead, once you're done, you can go ahead and log out of this interface. So we can go ahead and close this out. You can log out. You can just log out of that interface. There you are. That's it. Okay, now we want to verify this network connectivity. Go ahead and verify this next network connectivity. So what we're going to do, we're required to ping that number, that IP. We're going to go ahead and ping 5 pings, 192.168.1.20. There you go. So we're going to go ahead and ping. Count of 5. 192.168.1.20. That was a success. 5 packets transmitted, 5 received, 0 packets lost, and that was the time spent. So step 2 in this verification says, let's go back to CentOS. I'm gonna log in again. So we verified that in Ubuntu's. It was great. So let's go to CentOS and see if we can ping that again. Okay. Enter the IP address 192.168.1.10. So I'm going to enter the enter key. That was a success. So we verified that network connectivity in Ubuntu's. We went to CentOS. It was all good. For the lab purposes, we're going to go ahead and close everything. Close everything. And submit for grading.